Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Welcome to the October 2022 channel update. If you are a channel member, you'll be seeing this video 1 week early ahead of the general population, so thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you are not a channel member, you can become one by clicking the blue join button below this video or any video on my channel, and you'll get these videos a week early. That's kind of the only offering though, aside from a Discord channel, I guess. So what I try to do before making each channel update is I watch the previous month's update. I watch it back to see if I did everything I said I was going to do or if things changed. And there is a fairly large change that I want to talk about, just in change in plans. So for the past several months, I've been talking about covering God of War Ragnarok. I have decided not to do that. And it's for a fairly simple reason, one that I'm a little disappointed in, but, you know, it is what it is. And this brings me to like a larger point. So, as you may recall, I streamed God of War 2018 a couple of times a few months ago. Might have been August. And I was enjoying it, but I was kind of growing tired of it. And that only happened after like 6 or 7 hours. Like, it was pretty quick. And I have not had the interest. I have not been interested in going back to it. And I think what that's telling me is that God of War is not my style of game. It wasn't when it first came out, and the new one isn't now. So I just think it's not for me. And something that I always say on this channel is I'm not going to cover games just because they're popular, just because they're the new hot thing. It's not my style. If I don't want to cover a game, I'm not going to cover it. Like, if I'm not interested in playing it, it's not going to happen. And I have received games before with a request to cover it or review it or do guides. And I've played some games for several hours and emailed the person who sent me the key and said, I don't think this is for me. I'm happy to pay you for the key. Like, this, I'm just not going to do this. And, you know, I generally offer feedback as to why, maybe some development help. But, so God of War Ragnarok is just, like, not my style of game. I was hoping it would become, like, a couch game, a game that I could just play by myself on the couch and have a good time. But I don't want to do that either. It's just not my thing. What did turn into a really, really, really good streaming game, as well as a couch game, and a game that I spent a lot of time playing, is Aeterna Noctis. It's spelled Aeterna Noctis. This is a 2D Metroidvania on steroids. It's available on every platform, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. And do not judge a book by its cover when you look at this game or watch the trailer. It is a game that's developed in Unity. The art style, or I should say the graphical style, is kind of basic when you look at it. It's just sort of like images on top of images. The animation isn't, I don't know, like, it's hard to, like, when you're watching the trailer, the animation doesn't look gorgeous. It looks serviceable. It just looks like a Unity game. But when you play this game, it is probably the best feeling 2D platformer I have played in an extremely long time. The combat is fluid, the platforming is fantastic, and the game is tough as nails. I streamed this game, I think, for like collectively, I'm going to actually look right now because I have to know. Collectively, I streamed this game for 8 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours, 4 hours. So that's 16, 26, 30 hours I streamed this game over the course of 3 days. Like, it is such a good game. It's one of those games that I literally could not stop playing it until I became physically exhausted. I had a week off work, and I couldn't stop. I could not stop playing this game. I still haven't beaten it. I got to the final area the last time I streamed it, and then I just got busy with work, so I haven't gone back to it. Please play this game. It's pretty cheap. It's like $20 or $25. This game was not sent to me. This is not like a paid-for spot. I'm just trying to evangelize this game. A friend of mine had this game kind of on his radar for like a year or so. It came out a year ago, and he was looking for something to play, came across it again, and told our group chat with me and my friends, this is it. Like, this is the game. And he was not wrong. Same dude who turned me on to Dark Souls and Demon Souls. trust me and trust him. This is a good game. So I Turn to Noctis, definitely check it out. But playing that game kind of solidified that God of War was like not for me. Just to kind of get back to that point, like the gameplay just isn't compelling for me in God of War, and I think my tastes have changed a little bit over the past few years. I think games with like heavy narrative and heavy storytelling, I don't think I'm interested in them as much anymore. I think like an RPG or something, I'm down for. Final Fantasy VII or Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is coming out in December. Absolutely looking forward to that. Crisis Core is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm excited to see that hopefully the combat's been a little bit updated. It wasn't the greatest out of any Final Fantasy game, especially with the randomness of the mind wave system or whatever it is. That you have limit breaks and spells and all that tied to. Hoping that's updated, but I will absolutely 100% be covering that. Like, there's no chance I'm not. So to talk about that for a little bit, or to talk about that for a bit, I am going back to New York for Christmas, and Crisis Core comes out, I think, December 17th. Let me just double check. Crisis Core Reunion release date. December 13th. So it comes out December 13th. My last day of work for the winter, or for before break, is the 17th. Maybe that's where I got the 17th from. So it's only like 4 days. What I might do is I might just like wait to go home until like maybe like the 20th or the 21st or 22nd. This way I can give myself some time. I'll be off work. I can just hopefully just like crush the game really quick and cover it. But that's really the only like hiccup there. Is it may be similar to like Resident Evil 3, where like I cover like the surface level stuff, some secrets, some trophies, but then the more hardcore stuff may have to wait till later. Anyway, I think I'm a little scatterbrained here, and there's like I said, there's a bigger reason too, like that I want to talk about in this update. But I think games that are just like have a heavy narrative, I just don't think they're for me anymore, unless there's like some really good gameplay behind it. And God of War, it does have good gameplay, but it's not like I Turn to Noctis has no story but fantastic gameplay. I mean, it has a story, but it's not the most important piece. I think that's really the thing, is it's when the focus is the story, I don't think I'm interested anymore. And that's why I didn't play Last of Us Part 1. It's why I didn't play Last of Us Part 2. It's why I never played The Last of Us. It's why I lasted an hour in Detroit Become Human. And I loved that game. I played that at E3 one year, and I loved it. I couldn't wait for it. It's one of the reasons I got a PS4 Pro and a 4K TV. But I just didn't like it when I finally played it. Horizon, same thing. The focus is the story, not so much the gameplay. And I didn't even think the gameplay was that good. And so I'm definitely not going to get, that's why I didn't get Forbidden West. So I think my tastes are changing a bit. I don't think you're going to notice that on this channel so much. I've always covered games that I enjoyed playing. And I think I'm known for covering, I don't want to say hardcore games. I don't want to make that differentiation, but games that have difficult gameplay. I'll put it that way. Like Crash Bandicoot 4 was probably the most friendly game that I covered. I did cover SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom, because it came before Crash 4. I was sort of fiending for a platformer, and I was able to get it pretty early, but Crash 4 is probably the most recent game that is friendly. So I just don't think those games are for me anymore. It's a bit of a bummer, but also a self-realization. It's just I'm 34. I don't have, not that I don't have all the time in the world. I still have a very healthy game collection and a very healthy gaming habit, but I just don't want to sit on a couch and watch a game. You know what I mean? I'm just not into it anymore. Anyway, so no God of War Ragnarok, 100% doing Crisis Core Reunion. The other thing that I want to talk about is, before we get to the bigger picture thing, is what I've been working on this month, and that is Ocarina of Time. So this took a lot longer to even get started than I anticipated, and that's because I still have my original GameCube that I purchased in whatever year it was. I guess like 2002. It's a platinum GameCube. Like I haven't touched this thing. But before I moved to Los Angeles, I got my Ocarina of Time and Master Quest disc back from a friend who had it for like over 10 years, maybe close to 10 years. I got it resurfaced. It worked again. But then when I brought it home and like hooked up my GameCube, it didn't work. So I figured, okay, the laser's dead. I'll get it fixed when I move to LA. Found a repair shop, put it in for repair. They couldn't figure it out. For 4 weeks, they could not figure out what was wrong with this thing. They tried a new laser. They tried a new PCB. They tried to reflow the chip. Everything. Nothing was working. They tried to recap the board. Nothing. And so I just bought another one. And then I started playing it again, but then my Wavebird controller started crapping out. So I bought another Wavebird controller off eBay for like $60 or $70. Maybe it was like $50. I can't really remember. That one had different problems. So I opened them both up, cleaned them both out. Now they're both mediocre. It's just like, I kind of couldn't win. Today, I finally got a wired GameCube controller, brand new, from Video Games New York. Again, they're not sending it to me for free or anything. Just support your local game shop. And if you're looking for new GameCube controllers, VGNY has them. They are from Japan, but they work on American systems. And they're the Smash ones for Switch. So they are like fully brand new. It's not like a controller from 2002 that was just sealed the whole time. It's a brand new GameCube controller. So yeah, Ocarina of Time is well underway. I have 3 more videos to do for the base version of Ocarina of Time, and then I'll get started on Master Quest. I have to do Gold Skulltulas, Heart Pieces, and then Ganon's Tower. Then that'll be wrapped up, and then we'll move on to Master Quest. So that is underway. It's just been taking a while because of all like the dumb issues that I've run into with my hardware. Okay, so the bigger picture thing. This is going to sound like a little heady, and it's because I don't have the idea fully formed, but it's just something that I'm noticing. Lately, I've been listening to like a lot of game soundtracks, particularly Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've listened to that soundtrack probably like 4 or 5 times in the past 2 weeks. And when I listen to game soundtracks, I often remember where I was when I first heard that song or when I was first playing that level or fighting that fight in that game. And I remember a lot of emotions, like a lot of my emotions are tied to games, or like emotional periods are tied to games. And it makes me like fall in love with games all over again when I hear their soundtracks. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of those things, is one of those games. And a huge reason for that is because of what it took to get there. You know, like the original game came out in 97. It took over 20 years for the remake to come out. It had been rumored since the PS2. It had been a tech showcase for the PS3. And then when it was announced, it still took like 4 or 5 years to come out. You know, like it was a big thing. And when it did finally come out, it was the beginning of the pandemic. It was month 1.5, 2 of the pandemic. Like the world had been shut down. I had to drive from New Jersey to a store in New York City that had it. And like, I remember driving through Queens and there being lines wrapped around the Walgreens for like toilet paper. Like this was like height of the beginning of the pandemic when you couldn't get supplies. Like it was a tough time, and like 7 Remake really helped me get through a few days of that time. And then, you know, the discussions that happened afterwards of what's going to happen next in this game. You know, where does the story go from here? You know, what are they going to show in part 2? How many parts is it going to be? Like all those really special moments were tied up in this game, and listening to the soundtrack again, starting to feel those emotions again, those really excited emotions, and it's making me fiend for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But it starts to make me think of like why video games are important to me and like what they kind of mean to me in a way, and like the energy that I feel from games and that like games make me feel, like the emotions that games make me feel. I want to figure out a way to convey that to people and not necessarily like turn it into content. Like I'm not looking to like monetize these feelings or anything gross like that. I'm just trying to think of a way, if it's even worth doing, to express that in a creative way or incorporate it into my content as it is now. Like, I'm never not going to do guides and walkthroughs. I do the very rare review. I think the most recent game I reviewed was Battletoads on Xbox, or maybe it was Mortal Shell. Like, the type of content I'm doing is never going to change. I shouldn't say never, but for now, I have no interest in changing it. Guides are my life, and it always has been. But yeah, just sort of like incorporating that, the emotional side of games, because I think when people, like I was saying before, like, I don't want to play a game with a heavy story. I kind of want to experience the story in a way, if that makes sense. And so when the game is like preventing you from playing, like it stops you from playing so you watch a cutscene, and like, I know like Final Fantasy VII Remake does this all the goddamn time. Like, it's not unique to something like God of War or Horizon. Like, it's an RPG thing, really. And it's just become part of action games now. But I want to figure out a way to put the emotions that games make me feel into my guides. And like, I've started to do this a little bit with my full playthrough walkthroughs. Like, the walkthroughs are a chance for me to not only help people get through a game and show literally every step of the process of getting through a game, but there's a lot of time where you're just walking or solving a very easy puzzle or just fighting enemies that are sort of like fodder. And it's like, I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, press R1 to swing the sword. I'm going to try to tell you a story while we're doing it. I'm going to give you anecdotes about the game's development or, my own experiences with the game. But I want to find a way to like level that up again, like bring that to another level and talk more about the emotions as I'm going through it. And I kind of did this, like, if you go and watch the Ocarina of Time walkthrough for the Water Temple, towards the end of that walkthrough, like once we solve the final puzzle of the dungeon, I talk about how the Water Temple specifically is what got me into helping people with video games. Because people used to pay me in 5th grade. They would give me, they would bring their game to school in a Ziploc bag with $5, or they would drop it in my mailbox at my parents' house, and I would beat the Water Temple for them. And like, that was how I got my start of realizing, hey, I'm really good at video games and I can help people with them. And, I don't charge people. Well, in some cases I do charge people to beat games for them. Like, if somebody wants, I have a link at the bottom of all my videos for like personalized game help. And this is like if somebody wants me to like remote play their game for them and like beat a boss or, beat something crazy for them. I've done it a handful of times, but that moment in 5th grade was like the catalyst for a lot of my career. This channel especially, like making guides and walkthroughs especially. And so trying to figure out ways to incorporate those sorts of experiences into my walkthroughs and have it not just be a let's play follow along. I want it to be like, I want to help create an experience for people. I've gotten this comment a few times on my walkthroughs of people complimenting me and saying like, hey, this feels like I'm playing the game alongside a friend on the couch. Like, you're there with me. And that is one of the highest compliments anybody can give me, especially on those walkthrough style videos, because it really is like, I'm playing the game, I'm talking about the game, and I'm not shouting, I'm not screaming, it's not a reaction video, I'm not even on camera. Like, it's just me literally guiding you through an experience and like giving you the confidence that you can do it yourself. And yeah, I am sitting there with you. I am telling you what to do, but like, you are the one controlling it. I'm not playing the game for you. That's what I charge people for if they want to, but like, everything else is free. There's just some ads on it. But I want to figure out a way to enhance that a little bit. And so I want to figure out a way to talk about those emotions, talk about those experiences with games more. So again, I know it's a little heady, and it's a half-formed idea, but it's a feeling that I've been having more and more with respect to walkthroughs and with respect to how I want to convey content. So we'll figure it out. I have no idea how I'm going to implement it or what it looks like or anything like that. But yeah, so that's this month's update. Okay. So I'll continue with the Ocarina of Time walkthrough. Next will be Master Quest, and that'll probably lead right into Crisis Core Reunion. Okay, great. That's it. As always, I want to give a thank you to my channel members. I actually have it up in front of me this time, so I'm ready to go. Thank you very much to John Aldrich, Hector J. Estrada, Joe Saunders, Daniel Cockerill, Spencer Young, Phoenix Loader, Jude Lazowski, The Old One, Brian Brubaker, Stu J. Mac 26, Baghdad Money, and Greg is a new member. Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate the support. All right, again, if you want to become a channel member, you can click the blue join button below this video and get this video a week early. That's it. All right, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.